Slow dancing to the dip of BTC, as Pensive Chape's put here on the live stream. Absolutely love it.
Is it dipping again? God damn, you BTC guys, get your shit together, bro. Why is this in 100K, man? It's bullshit.
On the Trump presidency, I think so, right? Or we're all going to McDonald's with him.
100%.
What an epic troll, I do have to say, dude. Adam, what's good, bro? What I feel like I've seen you for at least 14, 15 days straight. We've worked through like every weekend.
Dude, there's no days off, man. When I mean, this is where you know we are definitely in a bull run. No matter what anybody says, we're definitely in the bull run. Because there are no days off. Like I haven't had a day off in seems like months now. So yeah, this is I mean, this is what I love. This is fucking amazing. But it still feels like it hasn't really started because we haven't seen the epic, rip by Bitcoin. I think, if Trump wins, knock on wood, let's hope it happens. We're just going to see a massive rip. That would be my gut. I feel like that's going to take place if Trump wins.
Yeah, man. Chris, what's good?
Yo, what's good, boys? What a crazy market. I mean, it feels like we make a ton of progress and then just straight 2 steps back. Like we're still like 25% lower for most coins than we were in like April, May. So, I mean, feels like the bull run is in full effect, like Adam said, but at the same time, we haven't moved anywhere. We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't made any progress. So
yeah, and maybe it doesn't. Like, I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe Trump wins and nothing happens because there's simply no new entrants into crypto.
no way.
Bro, I'm just saying.
No, I mean, if that catalyst can't get it going, I think it's over, boys. I think.
I mean, he catalyzes the crypto people who are already here to get excited about crypto. But if you look at the last couple of cycles, new people have come into crypto. You know, whether it was NFTs or DeFi or whatever, you know, new people came in. It attracted new people in. The new people in this time are like, we're hoping people buy Bitcoin in a 401k. It's a different type of like onboarding mechanism. And we don't know how people are going to react to it. I don't know. I still think we as crypto need something really interesting to grab people's attention. Not sure if meme coins are it. It could be, but it certainly hasn't taken off yet. I haven't seen meme coins on CNBC yet.
Well, one thing that you are going to see on CNBC, and then we'll get to the conversation, is that Stripe purchased Bridge for $1.1 billion, which is, I think, almost triple the largest crypto acquisition. I believe the largest was CoinMarketCap by Binance for 400 million. I don't know if there's anything larger than that.
Yeah.
So it's a stablecoin platform. It's also partly an interoperability platform as well, because they manage from all these different chains. So I thought very bullish that Stripe's coming in, and the Trojan horse is going to be stablecoins, and then eventually they'll make their way down the pipeline to all these other industries, and maybe eventually they'll be inscribing all of their information, all of their documentation through Inscripedia. And we're back here with our buddy Jern. What's good, bro? It's been, I think, what, 4 or 5 months since you've been on the show when you launched?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a good 4 months. I mean, I gotta say the conversation you had earlier is very, very interesting. You know, are we in a bull run? I mean, I would say we're not in a bull run yet, as in, you know, I do not see. I am biased because I've only been through like one full cycle. I came in 2020, and we do not have the tech that would onboard new people yet, in my opinion. Nothing that you know, my friends are telling me. Like, I remember like when everybody was talking about Bored Ape, we are very far from a bull run. Like, in my opinion, like some people are like saying we are in 2020, but like pre like or even 2019, according to some people. That I'm not too sure, and that's maybe there's maybe too much hopium about that. But I would say I mean, we are past the peak bear, so maybe like we are somewhat of a bull run, like the very, very early stage of it, but we are not in nowhere near like excessive phase. I say that, but this morning, Casey Rodamer released his a rune 50% pre-mined, and I haven't even had time to answer everybody who texted me about it and asking me, Alpha, what is this? What is that? Blah 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 blah. So maybe, and I caught a lot of eyes really quickly. So maybe the market is harder than I thought. It's really, really hard to say, you know?
Yeah. I have to say, for Casey, who gives all of the runes extra shit for terrible names, I don't think the name was you know, that creative either, to be completely honest. But
bring this up. Am I looking at it? Is this We Unfucked Ord? Is this what this is?
no, it starts with
Memento Mori.
Memento Mori.
Memento. And the funny thing is how Casey always trash talks about tickers. He's always like, they're all trash.
Mhm.
They're all trash. And then he takes like Uncommon Goods, Memento Mori.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, at least have good tickers if you're not trash talking about others.
Wait, did he not? I don't see a post on it. Did he post about it, or this?
No, people. No. So he etched it under the number 0 ordinal. Yeah, under the number
50% pre-mine.
Yeah,
bro, he really has gone full shit cone. What?
One of us.
Bro.
No, but like actually, a lot of people are speculating he will airdrop it to all his Patreon members because he's been asking to his Patreon members their addresses for like 2-3 months now, and and they like he had been teasing for a little while like we want to convert more people to our Patreon, blah blah blah. So a lot of people are speculating he's going to airdrop all of them to Patreon members. But it's not done until he does it, right? So like it's all speculation until they're airdropped.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, the market's clearly shown that even if there's a 1% pre-mine, degens don't want to participate in it. The only ones that have had pre-mine who've had any sort of success are generally the utility focused runes or kind of the business kind of backed ones where there's a sale or there's a distribution event or something of that nature. So it'll be interesting to see what Casey's doing with it, if he's just going to quote unquote treat it as a shitcoin and just airdrop and walk away, or if there's something more to it and maybe it intersects with his other art collection.
Was there a mad rush to inscribe these? People must have been going crazy for to inscribe.
No, but like it's going to like open in 8-9 days.
Oh, it's not. You can't even etch them yet.
No, it has that wait time.
Mempool disaster. Holy.
Yeah, I haven't checked. Well, actually, like for me, I just woke up. Everybody was like, blah, 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 like yo, and then I had this and everything. So I haven't even had the time to answer everybody. But yeah, I'm just wondering, like, is this the end of 4 V bytes? Probably, maybe.
Probably.
Wait,
so,
you said Casey had a Patreon? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of irony here, man. This is awesome,
man. This is awesome.
So
how you like?
Jaron, since last time we talked, speaking of mempool or token launches, I know there was some like crazy controversy or some like botting event that happened with your previous launch. I know maybe it's not best to start on kind of a tough spot, but I'm curious as to what happened. I was trying to look through it, but I couldn't figure out because there was tons of posting and tons of issues. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, very good question. I mean, so basically, when we left for like Token 2049 for Singapore, we had a brilliant idea to just decide to launch while we are in Singapore. And so we were like, you know what? Our devs were like, the website is ready. I know they can do it. I'm like, and then we wanted to be 100% public because we were like, I want everybody to have a shot at it. I want everybody to have an opportunity to get it. I don't want like just a little bit like cheap and fair, right? Like I don't want like only to give to like, even though I love Pizza Ninja, only to them or not monkeys or like the super strong communities, and it's like another like project that makes their rich richer. And then I'm like, well, I want everybody to have a shot at this. That's like, for me, especially when you create a new narrative, which is what I'm doing with Inscripedia, which are like books on Bitcoin. Maybe I should like introduce Inscripedia first, just
Sure.
to make sure everybody in the audience knows. So basically, Inscripedia is the first decentralized publishing house on Bitcoin. So our goal is that anytime you want to access some books or inscribe your book, your any type of text, you can just do it very easily on Inscripedia. We have a standard to make it look like a Kindle, and we have the cheapest fees, and it's super intuitive. I will explain later how it works. And so if you want to just read any book that's on the blockchain or any text, not all the texts are currently on the on Inscripedia, but the goal is that every text inscribed is on Inscripedia, and that you can inscribe any book through Inscripedia. So imagine like that, inscriptions or like the internet, and Inscripedia wants to be like the search engine to really find all of the books or texts. For now, like if you go on Inscripedia, we haven't yet when you build a product, I think Jake and Adam, you can understand that it's all a question of priority. What do you do first? So right now, eventually we will add and have an option to add every book that has been inscribed and easily just add it on Inscripedia. But right now we are more focusing on building like the product itself and making it more secure. But yeah, so in a couple of words, Inscripedia, imagine a search engine for any type of text related inscription, and inscribe any book through Inscripedia, keep 100% of the mint fees if you decide to make a collection, and eventually the biggest library and the using the safest data storage in the world. So yeah, that's pretty much the ethos behind Inscripedia. I think we can all agree it was time that a product like that went live using ordinals. Jake and I have been talking about this idea since for more than a year at this point. I'm happy to finally make it live, but as I was saying earlier, it could have been live a month ago, because September 16th, if I remember correctly, we decided to make it live. We're like, you know what? It's the time. Like a lot of my friends just I asked them to like promote Inscripedia. I'm like, hey, like Violetta, can you just tweet about that? I asked a lot of people to tweet just to like spread the word around, because we made it like basically on launch day we had a collection called Season Zero Casey's Collection, to kind of bring eyes, as we know, DJs, like a lot of people in the space. A product itself, does bring some eyes, but like a collection that is like has a strong name with it, and has like very cheap mint price, which is like 0.00069, which is like $45, I guess, now that Bitcoin has increased in price, and 3,000 supply, public mint. So like anybody, the goal was that anybody had access to it, and so we decided to go live, just to kind of to have some hype, but at the same time we wanted to like mitigate, because I don't want to be like a collection that goes super high first day and then just decrease forever. We have many, many, many plans with this collection, so I don't, we didn't really care how high or it went on the secondary the next 12 hours. What I care is like overall, and especially it's collectibles at the end of the day, right? But yeah, basically on that day we decided to go live, and we had like hundreds of thousands of requests, which was bots for the most part, and our website couldn't handle that. We understood afterward that our devs were like, oh, we didn't expect the type of traffic, we didn't make it that robust, blah blah. So some people could access, but then they had like some bug also, like in the rarity system for the first minutes, because it didn't like it was a whole shit show. Nobody could access it, but then some people could, and it minted, and then some people even like had other problems. We had a whole thing, ultimately we had like more than 50% minted through bots, mainly because a couple of humans were able to get through. Like we estimate like 250 out of like 1,600, but um how can we know which is which? And we didn't want to have our like first collection hold by bot like that would just dump every week for like the next year. Every time it would like pump a little bit, similar to like Bitcoin punks. How like that's what happened with them. So then Ordinal's Bot, which is our API provider, just kind of like sent us the money that we made from the mints, and we had to like refund everyone. We had to pay more because like some problems happened, and but I wanted to do things right. I don't want to have like for me, trust in the space is like the most important thing. So I'm like, yeah. So especially that this ironically put our name on the map in a way. We had a lot of like attention. And so for a week or two, that's how we gained a lot of traction on Inscripedia, because when I didn't even know it was that hype, honestly. I made a space afterwards, and we had like 1,000 people, all like for like all the time going on. Everybody was like super. They were pretty mad. Some were like more like understandable because they didn't know our intention. Like, are you gonna refund? Are you gonna keep the money? Are you gonna steal the money? Blah blah blah. And I was like, well, obviously I'm not gonna steal the money. Like, I'm dogs. I have more than like, but like it's not done until it's not true until it's done. So like that's why we made a priority to like refund the people. Then we thought with dev. Then we understood that like the website was a lot more shitty than I thought. So like we had, yeah, I mean like I am not really dev. And then we had to hire a whole new, more professional team, because for now, like, as you know, like when your website is not live, everything is pure expense, and like I'm the one paying everything. So like we had to just say, fuck it, we bring better devs, because we haven't made money through Inscripedia. So like yet, I guess. And so we were like, fuck it, we're gonna hire better devs. They were like, yo, we need to do all the back end again, and then even like the front end, blah, blah, blah. And I prefer to be safe than sorry again. We had one fuck up. People were like, general, we did everything right, in my opinion. So now like nobody's mad, and we had like our name on the map. And now a lot of people hear about like the initiative, which is the whole reason of Inscripedia right now. Our number one goal is that people hear about the whole narrative of books on Bitcoin, because for now I'm like, everybody's trading like nobody really cares what they're trading at the end of the day, whether it's runes, BRC20s, ordinals, whatever, as long as there's opportunities and there's stuff, so that is the whole like idea, and we all or we are all aware of that. So that's what I will do. And as well, like we're going with season 0. Then we have many plans in the future. We've already like announced our collaboration with Airhead and Be Live Protocol, and we have a lot more going on. A lot of alpha, and maybe some alpha will be spilled today in the space.
You never know. You never
So,
know.
tell me how it worked with. So you said some got through and bots got through, obviously. But did they get through and they actually inscribed it, or it didn't get inscribed?
Yeah.
Got through as far as like a payment goes through.
I mean, it did they did get inscribed. So there's ordinals of like the books that like do exist. But what we decided to do was to use the 5 original that we inscribed like this summer, and to use parent child to create a collection. So we've pre-inscribed all the collection already. It's already live on Magic Eden.
Gotcha.
And so we have like, so like the common has 1,500 supply linked to it, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. So we use the rare sats like names to like give it to them. And so we said to link them to the original 5. And then if you have like, oh, is it part of the real collection? Well, is it a child of the original one?
Yeah.
That's like, there's no ambiguity with it. And so we decided to also pre-inscribe everything. We're like, with that way there's no question about it. Just, is it linked to the first mint of the summer? Is it like parent child? Yes, no. If it's not, very simple, it's not part of the official collection. If it is, then yes, it's part of the official collection. It cannot be simpler than that.
Interesting. What would you say has been your biggest takeaway from now launching this project 4 months or so? What type of behaviors are you seeing from the community that maybe you didn't expect, and then what type of ideas have been reinforced over the last 4 months?
I mean, one thing was pretty funny is when I announced the launch, at the first days of Singapore, everybody was like, bro, n- let's be honest. He was like, bro, Jer, let's be honest. Nobody cares about books, man. Just do a collection like PFP like everybody else. Like a lot of people were like, and like they were like fighting, and they were like, yo, like, like nobody cares. And then when he got super hyped and stuff, then they DM me and they were like, hey, can I have buds, please? Because people don't seem to understand, like, oh, it's books. Books are boring. Nobody cares about books. I'm like, sure, I'm not selling the metaverse, correct? I'm not selling super dopamine rushy thing, but like I've lived enough in the space. Like I remember on VV, and they had like 200,000 people on there every like fucking mint, and most of the mints were comic books, first appearance of the Hulk, Spider-Man, whatever. And they were doing, or just collectibles in general, and they were doing extremely well. People collect the space, and especially books. It's like, I understand, like I said, again, it's not the metaverse, but a lot of people care about books. A lot of people want to trade or collect or create, or who knows, burn some books. They can do whatever they want. But the important thing is that anything that is created here in our like society, like humans like to own it. So if there's like only 60 legendaries, a lot of, and there's 1,500 common, more people will want the legendary. It's the same thing with PFPs. Anyone can just take, like, Adam, your OCM. Anybody can just take it and use delegate, reinscribe it, but nobody does it because everybody wants to own the real one, correct? So they want to own the one like official, and that is the purpose of the blockchain, that it authentifies all of that. So yeah, and for me, books are one of the collectible items, the most important, is one of the the collectibles that most used, that people collect the most, like, in the world. And I don't understand how people don't see this yet, because again, it needs to be proven once and once more. Like, I remember in February and January, like, Jake, you were there when I entered, when I entered the space anyway, like first week of February of last year, and I heard NFTs on Bitcoin. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. NFTs matter. And Bitcoin, we're not talking about a random blockchain. We're talking about Bitcoin. NFTs on Bitcoin. The first time I heard it, I was like, this is gonna go crazy. And now, I'm like, books on Bitcoin. We're creating an ecosystem, blah blah. Who knows how high it can go? Who the fuck knows? But it makes sense. Not only that, I want to build some actual infrastructure. We want to build an on-chain indexer, which will take time, and we do not have it yet. We have many plans with it. And at the end, like I said, Inscripedia could be a search engine for like text inscriptions, period. So that's one more utility that we're working on that is not live yet, because it takes a long time. We are building stuff. We are going to bring opportunities in the space, as we know. Like, if there was no money allowing opportunities, people wouldn't care. Similar to season 0, we're gonna create opportunities, and it's books. Right now, the ecosystem is worth absolutely nothing. It doesn't exist. We're creating it. So I don't know. I don't understand how people can fade it. It's like, people back then were like, NFTs on Bitcoin? Nah, it will never work. Doesn't make sense. Why would it work? It just, now it's a similar thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, creating new markets is really tough. I mean, especially when you're kind of one of the first to the scene, or at least you're the first to the scene on Bitcoin. Last cycle, I'd experimented with a few different writing, publishing type protocols on Ethereum, and none of them had any sort of traction. I think it really comes down to, how do you gamify it? And then, what's your cultural relevance? You obviously have been tapped in the space, as you said, almost since the beginning of Ordinals, and you get a ton of engagement anytime you post around Inscriptopedia. And then it's now, sharing that this can be more than just, flipping books, because it's not going to be comparable to the PFP trading experience, but you have to create that new type of experience. But when it comes to book readers, or I guess people who, purchase books, the attention span of crypto is quite small, right? Literally, it could be seconds to minutes. Whereas, like, when you're reading a book, right, you need hours to days or months to finish it. How do you plan to tackle that problem when it comes to getting the crypto natives, or just say the Bitcoin natives, to engaging with Inscriptopedia in a way, I guess, in a society where everyone's attention span is quite limited?
I mean, yeah, I mean that's a very good question. Like I am aware that on Inscripedia we're gonna have a lot of books pretty soon, or like eventually, and I do expect some people to genuinely, read through them, look at them, just kind of like feel the experience. And I am really aware that this is a decade company. Like the goal is I am actually doubling down on books. Like right now it's more like the speculative aspect that will work, because that's how the space works. And I'm aware of that. So that's why like I've when you said earlier that most of those other projects like Mirror never really worked, it's because they had no speculative side to it. No, like like that's what, like, you gotta build something, but at the same time you gotta incentivize people to care. That's how it works in the space. Ordinals, it's really like the trading ownership aspect of it that people care more. It's not about adding more security. When TC created Ordinals, I think it was really more to add some layers of security to the chain, because back then with $10,000 at one VByte, you can just stop the blockchain for many hours, and government could like pay that easily. But now, it's so much, like it would cost so much more to actually like stop the blockchain for a long while. That's due to ordinals and runes, and I think it's a great utility. He brought an incentive to bring more security to the blockchain, and I'm gonna use a similar logic to bring more eyes onto the whole narrative of books on Bitcoin. I understand like some project in the past, like Vivi, did it pretty well, but they've really focused on the collectability side of it, the ownership aspect. They had like for those that don't know, VV is like a platform that sold like comic books and collectibles from pretty big IPs like Disney, DC Comic and stuff. So like the first Spider-Man, the Legendary Edition, like at peak was worth more than like $100,000 the unit, and there was 1,000 of them. But at the same time, it's Spider-Man, right? And the goal is to really like make it fun to use and build at the same time. You gotta you gotta make people money, make them have fun, and actually build on the side. Have some utility, but make people use it, or like both need to work together for now, at least how this space works. If you only focus on building, 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 it's sad, but like, except if you are like very VC back and like have enough money treasury to like last years until the space matures, you don't like it doesn't have a lot of 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 opportunity to actually last in this space, unfortunately.
Yeah, it makes sense. So what happens in a scenario when Bitcoin miner fees increase, to a rate to where inscribing becomes highly expensive? Is there a strategy? Because, the premise of this is that, Bitcoin is going to be here forever. And so if you inscribe your text-based document, then it'll be on Bitcoin forever, or your item will therefore be forever. But if runes continues to keep trading and new protocols, proliferate as they have been over the past, few months, is there an L2 strategy, or a strategy to then, inscribe these on other UTXO based chains?
I mean, eventually, who knows? Maybe that's really not our priority at the moment. But you brought a pretty interesting point. Let's say right now fees go 10x. Why would people inscribe their books? I mean, on one end, we are working on some very on some compression models. For example, one of our friend like Jim.btc, he found a really very good way to compress audio files, but like especially beats, not without, so music without words. And he found a very, very good way, and we're trying to like find a way to like help people compress and really make it the cheapest way possible. That's one thing that we're working on, because we do understand that like right now, if you inscribe a, I mean, right now it's not that depending on the fee, right? It can cost 1,000 to 2,000 if it's a very big book, like 400, 500 pages. It all depends on but now very soon we want to add EPUB and anything. We have really many ways to like decrease the price as much as possible, because we do understand that's one big barrier of entry. But on the other side, let's say the fees go very, very high. How as we know, one of the reasons why Berkeley 20s were so prolific when like the space was extremely like active and the fees were like over 200, it's because it's really cheap to inscribe BRC 20s, even when, because it's one line of code. So what we've one of the reasons why books will also be prolific in this type of an environment is because once you inscribe it, let's say you pay $3,000 for your book to inscribe it, post that, because we use delegate as it's just a copy of a book that you buy. So if it's like speculative, so the person will buy the book, the price that you put, but because we use delegate and we have very low fees, they will not pay much. Delegate is like maximum $2, no matter really like the fees, because delegate is like the most effective way to like really copy. And it's more like more efficient and like recursive and stuff, and very low fees. So inscribing PFPs can be very expensive, but on with a book, let's say you have a hype book, yeah, blah blah blah, you have a hype collection, you have 5 rarities, you inscribe your book once, you add 5 rarities to it. Use we have our standard that can do that. You can just add a rarity to each of it, put the same book, and you add a cover on top of it. Then people will speculate on the whole collection, and people will not pay much other than the mint price. And so in that type of environment, books that, because they use delegate, will be one of the only collection that will be able to thrive, as a matter of fact.
Awesome. I see here on your profile that Inscriptopedia has collabed with, I believe it's called BeLife or Blythe Protocol, which it says that it's a reputation system or proof of valuable work. And it's trusted by Magic Eden, Xverse, and so it looks like it's within the Bitcoin ecosystem. Is there a plan to build some sort of reputation or points reward system that's integrated into Inscriptopedia?
We do have a plan for that, but no, actually, BeLife is like working on, I mean, many, many, many things. BeLife is like a subsidiary of Animoca Brands. It's like Animoca Brands on Bitcoin. In some way, it's like the only real project that they're working on, and they are pretty big in the space. They released a BeLife. I mean, before BeLife, they were Opal.
Got it. Okay, yeah, I've heard the
So
name before.
Yeah, it's Opal, but they rebranded last month to BeLife, and but it's the exact same thing. And we were just partnered, and we have something coming up, and actually they will be. It's very sooner than people think. Actually, regarding BeLife, and I've been working with them the last 2 weeks just to finalize everything. I pretty much call every day, and but it's been fun, and yeah, BeLife, they have a pretty strong community. They have a lot going on, and I'm helping them on some ways, such as this,
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, just me speculating, the way to get people engaged with reading per se is having some sort of token where you can reward people based off of the amount of attention they spend on reading the book, or some sort of reputation system, right, that allows people to prove their I guess their authority or their type of legitimacy within the text based world
Proof of
What do you say, Chris?
proof of reading, is that what we're
Proof of read.
Read to earn.
Yeah.
Read
Oh,
to earn.
read to earn. I
Read
mean,
to earn would be interesting to try and onboard. Some like parents would like that. I just don't know if the crypto space would like that.
Yeah, I think that there actually is like a lot of readers within the crypto industry. I think probably a higher reader penetration rate than probably the majority of most industries in the world. So, I mean, for you, Jern, I think what would be interesting is last time we spoke, you talked a lot about kind of this digital library of Alexandria. And I think that that's really tangentially related to Bitcoin. I think there are a lot of readers within this industry. I just think that they need the content. So what do you think about kind of loading the platform with Bitcoin, cypherpunk, freedom related kind of content? There's a ton of it, whether it's from Jameson Lopp or VJ Boy Party, Nick Carter, Trudy Meester, and just kind of making the platform kind of like a home base for kind of like this, maybe not banned books kind of platform, but kind of really high level, important kind of content. What do you think about a strategy like that?
Yeah, I mean, that is in a way pretty soon we have something like that. We have many plans. I mean, I would love to talk. I mean, like, Jake, it's been a while. We haven't had it also like a personal just phone call and talk about like more specific stuff. But I mean, we do have many plans because, as I said earlier, we do need to give incentives. And a lot of people in this space read. But the question is, why would they read instead? Just gotta give them a reason to read instead of something else. It's like I cannot hate on the market, right? Like, especially when things are super super hot, very few people will actually take the time to read instead of like trying to trade or to make money. So we gotta
just see if you had it on. If it's like the proof is somebody swiping pages or something. Guys are creating robots to swipe pages. It's just, you know the way it goes, man. You know the way it goes.
What do you think about just kind of leaning into that kind of ethos? I mean, because these people are already reading, right? And the only thing is that the content is distributed all over the internet rather than under Inscripedia. And so I think giving kind of people a home base, a place to look for all of these kind of, text-based documents that they're already reading, and kind of filtering them through some of the highest level writing content of the Bitcoin industry and kind of becoming a home base for that. I think that's pretty on point with where you're going.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I mean, very soon we're gonna have like I don't want to spoil it, but because I said like a lot, the moment zero starts, we'll be like unlocking a lot of stuff. Because it's always a question of, for me, it's, I mean, hard to say too much in public because, I like teasing, but at the end, if you say too much, the people will kind of speculate and everything. But I do want people to have a home base in Inscripedia and trust that, at the end, we want to be the Library of Alexandria that lives forever. That's why many times we use like Inscripedia forever, blah, blah, because we do want this to be a reality. We think that many books deserve to live forever. Many books that have had like, I say problem with the high society, and we do want to help people in being educated. And there's many countries in the world, but that's a whole other conversation. And as I said, incentives go in many ways, and I want people to trust that at Inscripedia we do our best to really create the Library of Alexandria on Bitcoin. We are the first to try. But we have a very strong team. There's a reason I, bet my reputation on Inscripedia. I truly believe in it. I think we're creating something that is worth it, that will help in many different ways people in the space. I didn't want to just like everybody suggested me to just launch BFP and just fuck off. Like, that is a safe way. Inscripedia was one of the things that pushed me to create Journ, because I knew that I couldn't create Inscripedia by myself, but I could create Journ by myself. I only need me and my phone to build a content creator, or like a guy make daily threads. I can do that by myself, but I cannot create a whole website and everything by myself. So I can say that any ideas, with time, the goal is really to create a narrative right now. People are still pretty like they're not used to it. People like bullish on Sin Zero, but at the same time it's so different because you're so used to, like, for example, everything launching on Magic Eden. Because if it's not launching on Magic Eden, it might not be very good. Inscribe now is rarely good. Like, gives it if you inscribe on like other launchpad. I mean, I personally really like Ordzor, but like if you inscribe like on if you launch on Ordzor, or other platform, people don't like it as much as Magic Eden, which, like, people are lazy, right? So like they were like, oh, you should launch on Magic Eden, and we could have launched on Magic Eden 3 days after we had our problem, but we were like, you know what? We want to launch on Inscripedia, show people that Inscripedia is a place for books, and we want everybody that thinks books, first thing you think is Inscripedia. On Bitcoin, books equals Inscripedia, and that narrative needs, and we will make it pick up, because books, if it creates opportunities, people will care. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see the decision of wanting to launch it on your own. It's it's kind of a brand thing of saying, we don't. It's not necessarily that we don't need anybody else, but it's that we have 100% faith in what we're doing here, and we want to make sure that the book kind of sector exists on its own two legs and isn't eventually handicapped because of saying it needed a boost by Magic Eden or XYZ things. Looking at the platform, there's kind of like multiple buckets here that are happening. For one, it's right, you need to get users engaged into reading or, some form of it. Chris is right that, the users in crypto do a lot of reading, whether it's, financial entertainment, which is shit posting, whether you're reading these kind of long, elongated reports by things like Masari and crypto analytics, or you're reading threads. It all comes in kind of different packaged ideas. For me, right, I'm somebody who does a lot of reading. I also do a lot of writing as well, long form writing. And from this perspective, there's two things that need to happen. Is one, there needs to be kind of a very simple and easy interface or inscription interface to where I can basically plug in all of the information that's there, right? The headline, the body and everything, and then have it inscribed pretty simply. The last one that I had inscribed on Bitcoin, it took me literally hours to figure out how to do this. You have to do a markdown file and all this other stuff. And right, you got to figure out what the HTML code is to make things bold and different things like that. It was really a big pain in the ass. And ultimately I ended up giving up at the end. So first you need to make that as simple as possible. But then if you're offering, users incentives of some sort, it's like, hey, if I inscribe, on Inscripedia, not only will, be on Bitcoin forever, but there's a devout user base that is going to read this because they're incentivized because of XYZ thing on the platform. So that becomes attractive as well. And it makes it like, hey, I'll spend the extra $30 or $50 or whatever it is to get this inscribed because I know I'm going to reach kind of another user base that's maybe not necessarily following me on Twitter or my blog platforms or etc.
Yep. No, very true. Like, in this space, it's incentives, incentives, incentives. And we are working on that. But again, like the fact we've launched last Wednesday, and again, like, we, even though we had tons of tests, the fact is going pretty, like, slowly. We actually appreciate that because it makes us a little bugs, and we can, like, identify them better. People DM us, and it's truly people that really care the most that have been, like, trying our website, and they're like, hey, I had this little problem. Hey, could you please fix it? Yes, and then if they were like tens of thousands of people day zero, and then the same problem would happen. You might have, even though we always try to fix all the bugs prior to the launch, there's always some that like we just don't notice, and we can appreciate the fact that for now, we it's going pretty smoothly until season zero's launch, which I heard is going to be sooner than people think or expect. Yeah.
Adam, you have any thoughts on
Actually, I wanted-
publishing or the tokenomics surrounding it?
Well, we've talked about it quite a bit, and I think we talked in Nashville about it, and it's significantly challenging. Like, this is really, I might have been one of the, maybe not fudding, but
One of the critics.
that the tokenomics of this and getting people excited about it, DGen's excited about it, really difficult. And so being able to pull it off, if you're able to do it kind of long term, is a real feather in your cap, because I think it's a significant challenge. But actually, one of the things I actually wanted your opinion on, or your viewpoint on, is kind of like what's happening with Web Archive, this important kind of like documenting of digital history and how it's stored. Basically, one company on Earth controls the entire digital footprint of the history of the world right now, right? And God knows how they can manipulate it and stuff. And just your viewpoint on kind of that entire thing. And if you're thinking, I mean, maybe it can't be done on Bitcoin, but maybe it could be done on an L2 or something. But what's your kind of just overarching theme of where you think that is today and where it could go in the next 5 years or something?
Well, Inscripedia, I think it will. The goal with Inscripedia is really to follow in a way, and to, like, right now we know how the space is, and we expect it to mature in like 2 years. So for now, as we know, we kind of compare sometimes Web3, like with Inscripedia, Web3 to like Web1. Web1 was like internet, but like with only ads, blah blah. Like there was no like real like use cases of it. It was just, again, people financially driven, like speculating with each other. But then we had like real companies like Google, MySpace, and other company that truly used internet and found a use case. People like social media. Social media is not a craving that we are born with. It's really a problem that they've created and a solution they've answered. So with Inscripedia, our goal long term is, like, for now we are more working on the Web3 side, but we want to have a platform. Our goal is to become Spotify for books, or like YouTube for books. There's so many problems with pirates nowadays, and it's the like on with the in the manga industry, more than half of the money that goes into the manga is it goes to pirate, because it's so easy to just steal the scans, or so many books that people read on Z Library and other stuff. And we want to become like the platform where all of them can just come, and we would ruminate every author. We could authenticate the work using in our indexer. We could recognize, and we could and the goal would be that I would love that in one platform, all the books that you could wish for are there. Maybe like a freemium, for free, but there's like ads or something else. But if you pay a premium subscription, you can just read everything, and then we would pay accordingly the authors. And because we'd be like decentralized, we would actually be and transparent, and using like in a way like the blockchain to prove everything. There wouldn't be any like hidden fees, or like we would just pay everybody equally. And our goal is to create like a middle class, and simultaneously there's like we would like still use like the Bitcoin blockchain in many instances, and more in the collectible side, and also to like conserve and preserve the most important works. As like there's over 1 billion books in the world. Is it realistic to want to inscribe all 1 billion of them? Not necessarily. But if we inscribe the 1 million most important books, it is still like 95% plus, so like the knowledge that matters most. And but at the same time, we will. So yeah, the whole goal is also to create a platform that will truly help authors and gonna become the biggest in our small sector, which is like blockchain. And did you guys lose me?
No, for a second, but
Zach, we
you're
got
good.
Okay, and but that is our goal in 5 years. But for now, we gotta thrive in this ecosystem. Then we gotta grow, 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 grow.
Yeah, it's
That's pretty much the whole idea, because yeah, that has always been my dream. Like one play that would truly help. We've seen how Spotify fucks with musicians. We've seen how like so many artists just get fucked, and they're passionate, so they continue anyway, and they just sacrifice a lot of other things for the passion. And I really hate how like the biggest artists in our world are all like corrupted in a way, because they're all like businessmen. If you're not a businessman, you're not gonna be like big. So we want to remove that of the equation for them. We want to do that for them. And yeah, that is like the narrative that we really aim for. Really create like a middle class for artists. We'll start with authors. Yeah.
every time we have this conversation, I always think of like different business models for this. Right. We've been talking about, writing and reading.
Same.
I think about,
it's a hard one.
It's tough. I mean, there's so many tangentially related things to, text. Like one idea I had just literally as you're just talking is like, oh, if I could build on top of this, I could basically build like a DocuSign on top of this and have people sign, important documents to the blockchain, which then is proved, right? It eliminates forgery. But then obviously the other side is now somebody's signature is on Bitcoin that can also be stolen and forged in the other way, right? But I think there's so many kind of small business models like that could be introduced to where, hey, it's not necessarily reading, right? But it's related because it's writing. And obviously DocuSign's like a multi-billion-dollar industry. So it does seem like there could be kind of, some use cases there.
I mean, that business where you just described, that's already been like people were trying to do that in like 2016 and 17.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's already been like done, failed, and probably ready for a comeback, honestly, as we've seen a million times. Like that kind of, it's like too early. Nobody knew what it was. Blockchain, who cares? What is it? But it seems like actually, poised, like that sort of ideas could actually come back and have some legs this time around. Yeah. Interesting.
I will be honest. So now I'm speaking to Inscripedia because I lost you on my other account. I don't know. I just didn't hear you anymore. But fortunately, I connected to my computer on Inscripedia. Can you repeat the idea?
Yeah, no problem. I basically just saying, we have this conversation. We've had this conversation privately multiple times, and now we've done this show twice on this, and always have different ideas of different business models you could introduce on top of Inscripedia. And one I had while you were just sitting here talking is basically building a DocuSign, right? Because it's documents, and having documents signed and then inscribed on Bitcoin could have a legitimate use case. Obviously, there's forgery that could happen on the other side of it, but it's just these kind of small things to where it could be added, that could find legitimate users and then kind of build a community around that. I'm sure there's probably dozens of small things like that.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me, like recently there's like Violetta sold like one song for 1 Bitcoin, and she really made it clear that she didn't sell the IP with or like the ownership of her song with this inscription. It was really like more like first edition, whatever, but the logic could still have applied. Like if you want to sell you made a song that like a music or like a book, and you want to sell the IP of it, the goal also of the blockchain is to simplify the whole process. The same way, like a lot of people wanted to sell houses, and they could just sell on ETH using smart contracts, and instead of using like all the like, I've never bought a house, I don't really know all the process, but like instead of like paying all those people, super complicated everything, you just buy the on OpenSea, Blur, Magic Eden, the house, and then you're okay, and then and then you can just and then you can just own it. The goal is to simplify the whole process, and I would love to help in this measure with a book IP or music, anything like that.
Yeah.
I think we've seen in the NFT space a lot, and I think Violetta's touching on it, which is this idea of actually getting away from, as you would say, like a Spotify model where you're paying for views or listens, and instead to this kind of ownership model where everybody can access the digital files. But then if you want to support the artist or the have ownership of the artist's official ones, this is like the ownership economy, right? That's what we're talking about in crypto. And so there's obviously a big opportunity here for you to be the player, right?
You just got to have the long-term vision.
Bro, can you hold on for 5 years, right? It's like, can you do it for 5 years? That's kind of the vibe. You've got to be able to go through a cycle. Feels like, yeah.
A few cycles.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's a thing as being too early, right? We've seen like a lot of NFT people in 2017. They were like, "Yo, who cares?" And imagine like holding 100 CryptoPunks, and then you're like, "Oh, this is never gonna work," and then just selling them all. And because sometimes you are right, just too early. And some people have said that even about NFTs in the last years, like maybe NFTs will, like, a lot of people are convinced NFTs will be big, but we might be too early, us in the space. So as everything is in life, the goal is just finding right balance. We simultaneously want to build, we are building, we are helping people. At the same time, we cannot thrive and exist in the ecosystem if we don't bring opportunities. That's why we like balancing in both, between both. And we want like the goal of Inscripedia is what I explained in 5 years. And what I explained to you in 5 years, I think will be 10 years, honestly, to really like convince the traditional publishing houses, the authors. A lot of authors like mad that like, it's so like books are one of the easiest things to really like copy and steal, because like you can just like scan, or you can just download stuff. Like it's so easy nowadays. So I'm like, somebody needs like to help them in a way, but they need like to be proven one again and again and again. And so the plan I explained earlier is actually more like in 10 years, but I'm okay with that. That's why I think I'm one of the only ones that can do this, because I'm one of the only ones with the passion and the drive. And like I've tried to actually publish my book, it didn't work. So there's a lot of work to be done. That is not even a doubt. A lot of work to be done, and I'm ready for it. And by the same time, we're gonna survive, and we'll try to thrive. Survive is the minimum. It would be like our goal is to actually thrive before we actually reach that goal anyway. But yeah, it will be hard, complicated, a pain in the ass multiple times, have been, is, and will be.
Yeah, I completely agree. So you're committed, long term. There was a botted kind of mint. You're improving the platform. What are we going to see, for the remainder of the year, over the next 9 or 10 weeks or so? What new things will we see introduced to Inscripedia?
I mean, in the before, let's say, Christmas or the end of the year, we are working on two main products. One I don't want to tease too much, but the other is, and you will see, before the end of this month, or like before the elections. It's one of the things people will be the most bullish on regarding Inscripedia. And the other is, like you say, like he kind of like incentive like token, but not really. We're trying to innovate on that thing again because like we still, tokens. Like I know a lot of people like that would be the easy way. Like it's like for now we're 100% bootstrap. It's really easy to go the VC and the corporate way, but I don't really like it. I don't really like it. We could easily raise some money and then everything could be easier, but like it doesn't really align with our values. I don't think it's really like long-term sustainable, even though like so many people do this in this space. And something else like airdrops, and then that's been proven many times that it doesn't really work. But you gotta take the best from each, like from everything, and then create something better. It won't be the best either, but like just improve what has happened. So we are working on like kind of a point system. That is an alpha. I've never said that before. In the kind of a point system to like incentivize people, but it's not what you think it will be. It's not what everybody has done in the past years. It's not brain dead or farming for farming. It will be something a lot more fun, and that will be more like aligned with Inscripedia's thesis.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm excited to see, the progression of Inscripedia and also just your progression as a founder as well. You've been committed at this idea for a long time. You've gone through a bunch of changes, and we're going to continue on. Adam, do you have any final thoughts on where this is all headed?
No, man, he's chugging, and it's a significant challenge. I give him props for like going after it, right? Because I think he's really early to this. And when you're really early, you usually get bloody. And as we know as well with Emblem,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we're early and we get bloodied all the time. And I just encourage you to keep pushing, man. Don't give up. And we're behind you. Good luck, brother.
Yeah, you get a lot of people questioning stuff. I mean, there was somebody in the Emblem Emblem Discord just said, what's the point of Emblem if you have Unisat? So right, there's you're always going to be questioned early until there's that winning use case. And even when there's that winning use case, it's also a culture battle as well to prove, that there is kind of other things out there. And then you need these essentially these trophy wins, these things that can always be pointed at and say, look, this is why it exists. And, right now, Inscripedia is trying to figure out what that trophy kind of is.
I mean, as he was mentioning Spotify and stuff, it is like, I just, because I was, very much into what was going on with, Napster and how that disrupted the music industry and moving from, physical CDs that you're buying into, a completely free digital items to now you're paying for a streaming service. And now it feels like we're moving into kind of ownership economy where you're basically buying from the artist directly and stuff. And, but you get pushback all along the way. You will get absolutely tremendous pushback. Artists will think there's no way that could possibly work. That's stupid. I want to sell my books on Amazon. Right. But so to move and create a new model is really brave and really important. And so, yeah, man, keep chugging, bro.
Fuck yeah. Chris, any final questions for Jern? Thoughts?
I mean, I really love, the approach here, and, literature reading is definitely low time preference. So building a company around, literature and reading is definitely going to be low time preference. But I mean, it's extremely powerful. And, I can only just recommend leaning into the industry and kind of the ethos. And, when you're reading some of these old literatures of people coming to kind of the mindset of, how Bitcoin's going to fit in with their worldview, and just reading through all these, early cypherpunk style ideals and just really looping that in within your business, I think is just tremendous. And I think it's extremely powerful. So excited to watch you kind of grow.
Okay. Jern, appreciate you for coming on, man. Any final comments or anything you'd like to say to the crowd?
Well, first, thank you very much for listening. I would like if you could follow Inscripedia account, even Jern if you want, but 2 minutes, like the goal is Inscripedia. Every day, we're trying to like spread out a good news. And today, yesterday we had our collab with Be Life. Today, and because the goal is right now we're trying to create a bit of momentum because that's a bit of alpha. Next week we are planning to launch season 0. You know, it should be finally ready. Should again. And finally should. So yeah, I would love if you could, you know, just put some. We have some tweets. I know. Give us some love. Follow Inscripedia. Right now, I'm on Inscripedia and I see Adam doesn't follow me. Jake, maybe it's bugging. Maybe I think it will be fixed in a couple of minutes. And so everybody here, just that would mean the world to me. And if you could help me, you know, spread the narrative of books. If you love books, just talk about like try or go on Inscripedia.com and look at it by yourself, because it's just a beginning. I remember always like when I talked with Domo very early on, he talked to me about Unisat. It was like the first day there was 4 people that went on the website, and now look where Unisat is. You know, it was really quick. So like I would say, don't FUD something that I've built. Like during, like I'm betting everything on this for a reason. I've been in this space for a long while to understand how all of this works. I understand pretty well the Web3 psychology. So trust me on this. A bet on Inscripedia is a bet on Jern. So if you always like my content, just please take a minute to look into it, and you will not be disappointed. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate it, dude. You crush it as always. For those that enjoyed the show, please follow the Emblem account. Adam, myself, and Chris who work at Emblem Vault, leading cross-chain NFT protocol. We host a show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow, we're continuing with our inscription show. And then on Thursday, we're bringing in Graham Bells of Televault, which we just launched recently, which now has, as of about 10 seconds ago, over $1 million in bells that has been bridged over. Yeah, just got a 100,000 bell vault that was just minted a minute ago. So the cool part of Televault is that this can also be applied to all of the Bitcoin meta protocols. Like Pepe Cash is a really hotly requested item. Also, some other UTXO chains have been reaching out to us as well, so that they could bridge over, as well as obviously things like Dog and Stamp with the SRC20 protocol are also hotly requested items. So as we bridge that out, no pun intended, we'll continue to extend that to the Bitcoin community. I appreciate everyone that joined this conversation. We'll be back again here tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, enjoy your Tuesday. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you soon.
And go vote.
See you soon, guys.
Make sure you vote.